So we're going to be taking a look at mindset. There was a gentleman, he was in high school. I think he was just about in his last year, and his mother just pressured him to take this SAT test. And so reluctantly, he goes in and he takes the SAT test, and he just does the best he can. He didn't know what was really going on. Then he gets his score back, and the score was a 1480 out of 1600, which is phenomenal. And his mom is just blown away. His family is blown away. He was surprised that he scored that well. He had not prepared. And some people asked him, like, did you cheat? And he was like, to be honest, like, I tried, but I couldn't, like the way that the Scantrons were, I couldn't even cheat. So no, like this is just what I got. Realizing that he got a 1480 changed the course of this man's life. Instead of skipping out all the time, he started showing up to class, paying attention. He thought, man, if I can do this well, just imagine if I start actually applying myself and showing up to class. He went on to go to a community college and graduate, and went on to become a successful entrepreneur. What's interesting about this story is that later, this man got a letter in the mail from the committee letting him know that they had messed up on the SAT scores, and they had mixed up his score with someone else's, and that he really only got a 760 on the SAT, which isn't very good at all. But he thought he had the 1480, and now he's already a successful entrepreneur. It's too late to tell him that he's not so smart now. But when asked about it, like, do you think that test score changed your life? And he said, what changed my life is not the 1480. It's when I started behaving like a 1480. That really encapsulates the concept of a mindset. When this man believed he was smart, then he started to act smart. He started to actually be smart. He started to actually make smart decisions and apply himself and engage the brain. And as a result, he was successful. And sometimes that's what it takes. It takes the right belief. But those who come from complex trauma were given beliefs that are false and beliefs that are detrimental to someone in their life as they progress. You may have, in fact, been given the belief that you are dumb by your parents. Your caregivers may have made you feel like you are worthless. And by giving you this belief, by implanting that notion in your head, that affects the way you continue to act there and after. It gives you a negative mindset. And so people who are coming from complex trauma have a negative mindset, and this can be for a variety of reasons, but it's very, very common that if they've experienced complex trauma, they live in a negative mind state. And it could be because when they were growing up, they had to behave like there were snakes in the jungle, right? Because if you're actually in the jungle and there actually are poisonous snakes, and the guide who's with you says, watch out, mates, there's poisonous snakes in the grass, how are you going to walk? How are you going to talk? How are you going to think? Are you going to be just chewing gum, playing on your phone? No. You're going to be walking very carefully. You're going to be stepping carefully. You're going to be looking from side to side because there's snakes in the grass. The environment you grew up in was like that jungle. At any time, for any reason, you could get attacked. There were snakes in the grass. You could get hurt. And this didn't have to be emotional abuse. This could have been, or this didn't have to be physical. It could have been emotional. Could have been just to know that your mother would lose her temper at the drop of a dime, and you weren't sure what it was going to be about and what was going to cause it. So you always had to be on pins and needles. You had to walk on eggshells around your alcoholic father, or if he was an anger-driven father, you had to constantly act in a way and think in a way that was watching out for any potential danger sign that someone was going to snap on you, they were going to lose it, they were going to make you feel terrible, worthless, or actually become physically violent with you. And so this gives you a mindset that works in the jungle, but now imagine that person who's walking in the jungle looking for the snakes takes that same mindset when they're walking through the city. There's virtually no possibility that a poisonous snake is going to bite them in the city. So why are they walking around looking at the ground like that? This is what happens to us when we are raised in that household, or we get the beliefs implanted, we get the programs in our mind, and then we go out into the real world, and now our once adaptive way of thinking is now maladaptive. And so because we have a negative mindset, we may be the type of person who complains a lot. We're always complaining about what's happening in our life and what we don't have, and what other people should have done for us, but they didn't do, and they did do that they shouldn't have done. It's always a complaint because we're in that state. We're in that state of negativity. We may have had a parent that constantly complained like that, or we may be the type to blame others for everything that happens, because we may have had a parent that also blamed us for everything that happens. We might be the type that's constantly looking for a flaw at all times. So you can't ever meet a new person, get a good meal. There's nothing that doesn't have a flaw, and you're searching for the flaw because you have the snakes in the grass mentality. You're waiting for what's going to jump out and hurt you. Or it could be the person who has a victim mentality. A victim mentality is where you constantly feel like everything bad always happens to you. Why does everything bad always happen to me? And also, as a victim, there's nothing I can do about anything. I have no control. It always goes wrong. And this is just my life. That's a victim mentality. That is also a form of negativity. It's a negative mindset. Or you could be the worst case scenario person who's always thinking ahead to what could be the worst case scenario in any given situation. You're going to work, you're thinking, oh man, my boss is going to be there, they're going to fire me. You're going home, you're thinking, oh man, my spouse is going to be angry. You're always in that heightened state of arousal, hyperarousal, and vigilance, looking for the worst thing that could possibly happen. You could be catastrophizing and thinking, oh man, so-and-so hasn't called me back yet. It's probably because they got in a car accident and died. They probably got kidnapped. It's already been 5 minutes. Or you could be someone who's always feeling shame, like you're not good enough, no matter what. No matter what I do, I'm not good enough. I didn't do good enough. You could be the type of person who wants to get past that feeling of shame, so you try to be perfect. In everything you do, everywhere you go, try to be Mr. or Miss Perfect. I'm perfection. And this is the way that you can try to get some worth, some value, because you see the flaw in everything, and you feel like everyone's looking at you the way you look at everyone else. And so you try to be perfect, but what happens is you don't live up to the perfection. And so you're going on 100, 100, 100, and then you drop down to 0 because you just messed up. And once you mess up, you feel like, well, what's even the point? Because if I can't be perfect, then there's really no point to being anything at all. Or you could be trying to please everyone all the time. I always please everyone. No matter what, I find a way to make it work so that everyone is happy. Does that really work? No. And so when it doesn't work and someone's disappointed in you, what happens? I can't take this anymore. I don't want to do this. You're gone. Any relationship, any job, it doesn't matter. If they're not going to be totally pleased and totally happy, you can't exist within that mind space. So you're out of there. And so what happens is persons like this feel like they can't get their needs met, so they actually manipulate others to get their needs met. You could be the type who's constantly looking for flaws in other people. Yeah, he seems nice, but there's something there. There's something under there. You're always suspecting that there's a flaw, or you're always noticing what the flaw is. And then once you see the flaw, you hyper focus on it. You can't see them the same again. It could be in the programs you join, or in the jobs you're in, or in the classes you take. You're always finding the flaw with it. Could be just a fear of failure. You're always constantly concerned and afraid that you might fail at what you do. And so someone who feels like they're going to fail, they don't even try new things. Why try? I'm just going to fail. It wouldn't be worth my effort to go forward and to try these new things because I'm just going to fail in the end. So they don't even try, or they always want to quit what they're doing. So if you're the type of person who always wants to quit what you're doing, you need a way out. And your only way out is to pick on the flaws and criticize whatever it is you're trying to quit. If it's the relationship, you got to tear down your mate to show, yeah, see, of course I have to quit. This person is terrible. If it was a job, you got to tear down the job. If it was a program you were a part of, you have to tear down the program and criticize everything so that you can quit. It's likely you were raised with a parent who is always pointing out the flaws in you. Instead of building you up, they were pointing out the flaws. Or even if you had one, they would be extreme with the way they praised you. They would build you up really high, and then really extreme with the way they tear you down. You're the worst human being, and you're this and you're that. Name calling, verbal abuse. And so that gives you a perception of the world where you're looking at everything that way too, in extremes. Something's either amazing, it's perfect, or it's awful, it's wretched, and you're just tearing it down. Some parents create what's basically a cult. You see, because power-hungry parents don't want you to think for yourself, or to find information or leadership elsewhere outside of them. So they want to tear everyone else down in your eyes. So when you bring a new friend home, they tear down the new friend. They don't like them. And any new family that you're around or you like, they tear down that family. They don't like them. And they never like anybody or anything, so that they can keep you feeling like, okay, only my mom, only my dad is the person that I can trust. They're the only people I can rely on. Some parents try to lead and teach their children bigoted ideas and racist thinking to push themselves up. Like, we are superior because we're this race, and everyone else who's not this race is inferior. You could be the type to avoid friendships because you see friendships or relationships as dangerous, which would make sense since even the very first relationships in your life were dangerous. And so you take the opportunity to find the flaws, to tear down and pick apart any potential friend or any potential romantic partner, so that you have a reason to stay away from that relationship. Or it could be that someone has offered you some advice, a piece of counsel to help you to become better, some constructive criticism, and you don't like it. But you can't tear down what they said because they're kind of right. So you have to tear them down. Oh, he's telling me that I need to do this. Look at him. Look at his kids. Look at his life. Look at his car. What is he talking about? Do you relate to any of these? Do you know someone who's negative like this? It can really create problems around us, can it? People don't want to be around you if you're negative. People don't feel safe around you if you're critical and judgmental. It doesn't help you meet your goals in life to be negative. So it leads you to be alone. It doesn't help you to be smart when you're negative because it shuts down your learning faculties. So it leads you to be dumber. It doesn't help you to earn when you're negative. It affects your earning potential. So it leads you to be poorer. And it doesn't help your health when you're negative. So it leads you to be sicker. So all those things being taken into account, why would you want to be in a negative mindset? Think about it. If any of what we've described is you, ask yourself, why would I want to be in a mindset like that? It could be that we try to be in a positive mindset, but we keep getting triggered by situations. And triggers can be anything. If you're tired, that could be a trigger. If you're feeling lonely, that could be a trigger. If you're feeling embarrassed, that could be a trigger. If you're feeling disappointed, that could be a trigger. A change, having to change or do something new, some new challenge in life, those can be triggers. And when those triggers occur, it's like a domino effect. So you were having a good day and everything was right, and then you got triggered by something, and then it's like, just let the floodgates loose. Oh, well, let me stop trying to be positive because everything is just falling apart right now. But whatever the case, we must recognize that it's not to our benefit to be in that negative mindset. So we need to defuse our triggers, and we need to get into a mindset of positivity. Because if we're in a mindset of positivity, it's better for us, not just metaphysically, in the energy self. That would be your thoughts and your emotions, but it's better for us even physically, isn't it? Research has shown that there's a direct connection between health and attitude. At the Harvard University, they have done studies that prove that positive emotions help people live longer and be healthier. Positive emotions help people live longer and be healthier. One study showed that if people are in a positive mindset, they're quicker to recover from a traumatic physical illness. Researchers in Utah also noted that a positive mood might have an effect on the immune system, boosting it, and might help heart health. Scientists have seen that people who have a positivity mindset have less muscle tension, less muscle pain, less headaches, less digestive problems, less chest pain, better sex drive, less sleep problems, and less fatigue. That's just your physical health. We haven't talked about all the other ways it would help you in your life, but I think you understand that you want to be in a positive mindset because you're going to live longer, you're going to be healthier, but you're also going to be happier. So realize that the reason you're in that negative mind state is because of programs that have been set in you. But now those programs are not adaptive. So think of yourself like that person who was once in the jungle looking for snakes in the grass, but now you're living the city life. You got to adapt. To adapt means to change to what works now. Because where you're at now in this world, in this new life, you are an adult. You are no longer that helpless child. We need to adapt to the new circumstances. Well, how can we do that? Your subconscious mind is like a computer that can be programmed. It is the animal brain, so therefore it is like an animal that can be trained. The reason you're in a mindset of negativity is because your subconscious mind learned, oh, this is what we do. We go to negativity mindset, especially when we get triggered. That's what we do. We're always looking for snakes in the grass. That's what we do. Once you realize that that's what the subconscious mind is programmed to do now, you must then understand that you can change it. It is not an irreversible process. You can reprogram your subconscious mind at any time. Right? In fact, you adapt to circumstances and rules all the time. If you go over someone's house and they say, oh, no, when you come over here, you have to take your shoes off. It's not super hard for you to remember to take your shoes off. Like you just start, oh, no problem. You go and you take your shoes off. This is how they do it in this house. It's fine. You're able to adapt immediately because whenever you go anywhere, they have certain rules. And as soon as you learn what the rules are, you adapt to those rules. You say, oh, okay, here we can't wear hats, we can't wear sunglasses, you have to wear a mask, whatever it is. You're able to roll and adapt to those circumstances. You can do the same thing now. When you're adapting to those circumstances, you're just sending a signal to your subconscious mind. The way you do it, self-talk. That's how you reprogram the subconscious mind. It's how you talk to yourself, self-talk. Because your mind doesn't have one part, it has two parts. The subconscious part is just one part of the mind. The other part is the conscious part of the mind. That is you. You as the conscious self can decide what you want your subconscious mind to be programmed to be. So if you want your subconscious mind to be programmed to be positive, you can do that. How do you do it? Self-talk. You're reinforcing your own programs when you give yourself negative self-talk. So look at the way you talk to yourself. Let's do that right now. Let's switch this program and examine what your program is right now. For instance, let's do an imaginary scenario. Let's say you're driving along the highway or something like that, and your car starts to sputter a little bit. So you get over in the slow lane and you're looking at your gauges to see what the problem is. And sure enough, you did not put gas in the car. And you told yourself you were going to put gas in the car. You realize at this very moment, this is your apocalypse. There is no gas in the car, and there you are on a highway. You are not getting to a gas station. The car is already sputtering out, and it totally stalls, and it's done. The engine dies. You're able to pull off safely to the side of the road, and you're sitting there. What are you telling yourself? What are you saying to yourself? Looking at that empty gas gauge, knowing that you easily could have gotten gas, but you didn't. What's your self-talk? What do you hear? Is it negativity? Do you hear a lot of, oh, you idiot. You're so stupid. You're so dumb. Oh my gosh. You are useless. How could you do this? You talking to yourself like that? You're reinforcing negativity mindset. And by the way, you're verbally abusing yourself as well, if that's how you talk to yourself. The way you realize that is by looking at that self-talk and applying it to someone else. Would you talk to another person like that? So let's say you're in the passenger seat and it was your friend, someone who looks up to you, and they forgot to get gas. Is that what you would say to them? You idiot. You are so stupid. You moron. How could you leave the house without putting gas in the car? It's so simple. Is that how you talk to people? No. You would be such a jerk to talk to someone like that. Who's already, by the way, experiencing a challenge in life right now. They're already having a bad day. So to talk to them like that would just be like you adding salt into their wound and insult to injury. It's not really helpful, is it? It's not. So recognize that's not a helpful way to talk to someone, and it's abusive. So it's not a helpful way to talk to yourself. If you talk to yourself that way, you're reinforcing negativity mindset. Now, you need positivity mindset. How can we reprogram the brain? What's a better way to speak to ourselves? How would you talk to someone you love? You'd say, oh, oh my gosh. Wow. Well, that's okay. Let me see where the nearest gas station is. Well, that's all right. No, don't let it ruin your day. Let's just find someone who can help. Let me see who I can call. That's okay. We got a AAA membership. Let's just call them. That's okay. The city actually has a number that we can call. Let's call them. That's how you would talk to a friend, right? That's how you're supposed to talk to yourself. More so, that's positivity mindset. When you speak to yourself that way, you help your subconscious mind to learn how to treat you better and how to view the world in a way that's actually healthy and helpful. Because beating yourself up and talking down to yourself when you're already having a bad day, that's actually not helping you at all. It doesn't lead to any solution. All that yelling led to no solutions. You instinctively, you're thinking that that's going to help. Well, this will teach me a lesson. I'm going to beat myself, right? But that doesn't actually work. It has very limited value in success. Beating yourself up has very limited value in success. What tends to work more is being kind to yourself. The world's cruel enough. Be kind to yourself. That's self-talk. Change your self-talk. Now, we only use one example, but you need to change your self-talk in everything that you do, not just in the one situation with the gas. Think of all of the triggers that can come up. Feeling tired, feeling embarrassed, feeling on the spot, feeling unprepared. All of these situations, negative self-talk will not get you there. It's not adaptive anymore. You're still in the old mindset of childhood. In order to be successful in life, to reach our goals and to achieve our purpose, we need to have positive self-talk. Let's use another example. Let's say this time it's not about you. Somebody else messed up. It's a friend of yours, someone who came into your life recently and you guys were hitting it off really well. And they found your purse while at a party or a gathering or whatever. They're at your house and they stuck their hand in your purse. They grabbed your card, your debit card. They escaped with it. They charged up a bunch of stuff and they ran off into the sunset. They ghosted you. You're calling them, texting them. You can't get a hold of them. What are you saying about that person? Are you thinking negative, bad things about them? What's your self-talk toward the situation and toward that individual? So you shouldn't be saying, that horrible, wicked, evil, terrible. It seems natural to do that. But their actions do not precipitate that you need to come out of your mindset. So how can we have a positive self-talk in this situation? Instead of, this always happens. I can never trust anyone. There's nobody good. Why does this have to happen to me? This is the story of my life. Instead of all that, why don't we change that to a positivity mindset? How you would talk, because you wouldn't talk to a friend like that. This always happens to you. You are so dumb. Why are your friends so awful? That person, that's how you do. You switch into, what can I do? What works here? You say, oh, wow. Well, you live and you learn. Well, that's okay. What can I do? I can call the bank and get my card canceled, and that's how it goes sometimes. Wow, what a disappointment. Well, nothing I can do about it now. Let me get this situation taken care of by canceling the card, report the theft, move on with my life. Enjoy the rest of the night. Enjoy the party. Why mess up the whole party because one person decided to be a bad person? Make sense? Don't tear down all the parties because of one person. Understand that you need to be giving yourself positive self-talk. That's okay. It's going to be all right. No problem. We've been through worse. This could have been worse. Change yourself to having a positive self-talk. So let me show you how to defuse some of your triggers, and this will actually show you how to reprogram your subconscious mind. We're going to do it together, and it's a meditation exercise. You might grab a pen or a pencil or something like that. And what we're going to do here is we're going to write down 2 thoughts that are positive about yourself. 2 thoughts that are positive about yourself, but they have to be true. Okay. So don't be like right now, I'm not 6 feet tall. So as much as I want to be, I'm still only 5'11". So it doesn't do me any good to be like, well, I'm 6 feet tall. No. Let's stick with something that's true. So what's something true you can say about yourself? You think of something true but positive. So I'm gonna use, you're doing a good job. It's true. It's positive. I'm doing a good job. What's another thing? Think of another one for yourself. Maybe something encouraging about your future. I'm going to use you're en route to achieve your goals. Those are nice, positive statements. Very encouraging. You're doing a good job. You're en route to achieve your goals. So you write down what yours are. They don't got to be the same as mine. They just need to be true for you, right? And then in a separate space, you're going to write down something in your life right now that really bums you out or has been bringing you down or has been causing you anxiety. So I'm going to write, my best friend betrayed me. So this is something where every time I think about it, it just brings down the mood, just brings down my mindset, right? So now what I want you to do is we're going to diffuse that trigger. We're going to take the power out of that trigger in just a 2-minute meditation. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 minutes, slightly less, to think about this prompt, this trigger. But what I want you to do differently than what you normally do, because normally you think about the trigger and you start spiraling down into a vortex, into a toilet bowl of negativity, and then you end up in the fetal position on your bed. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to purposely think about the trigger. And as soon as you got the trigger in your mind and you feel it start to hit, you immediately hit it with your 2 positive thoughts. And so this is what's going to sound like in my mind. I'm going to keep doing this over and over. My best friend betrayed me. My best friend betrayed me. That's okay. You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. And you're en route to meet your goals. Okay, but my best friend betrayed me. You're doing a good job. You're en route to meet your goals. You're en route right now. You're actually doing a good job. You're en route to meet your goals. And then I cycle back. So that's what you're going to do. It's going to be a little less than 2 minutes, maybe about 1 minute, 30 seconds that I'm going to give you. And you're just going to keep going back, and I'll tell you when to stop. You're going to keep bringing up the prompt. And then right when the prompt starts to really hit, you're going to keep hitting it with the positive thought. Okay, ready, set, go. Keep going. We're almost there. You're going to keep pushing yourself to think the negative prompt. And then I want you to allow the positive thoughts to knock out the emotion of the negative prompt. And right when you start to feel the positivity of the positive thought, then you go back to the negative prompt. And that's time. Okay. So what you may have noticed in this meditative process, it was very slight. But what happens now when you think of that negative prompt, it doesn't have the same power to spiral you anymore. That's defusing a trigger. Now, if we can do that in 1 minute and 30 seconds of meditation, imagine what you can do with the recommended 30 minutes a day. It doesn't mean that you have to do all of your 30 minutes in one sitting, but every day you should be putting 30 minutes of exercise on your body and 30 minutes of exercise on the mind. This is how you meditate, to exercise the mind. This is how you change and alter your mindset. We're going into the subconscious beliefs and the subconscious prompts, and we're defusing, we're de-triggering them so that they're not so strong anymore. And in this process, the brain gets retrained so that when it thinks of the negative thing, it also remembers that you keep, every time you think of this negative thing, you keep being reminded of something that's actually positive. And that's the power of being in a positive mindset. Not to be cliche, but that's the power of positivity. We have to make a choice, whether we're going to choose to be healthy and live in a healthy state of mind, or we're going to choose to be unhealthy and live in a negative state of mind. But remember, it's not the 480 on your SAT. It's when you start to live like you are smart, when you start to believe that you are doing a good job and that you are on track for your goals, then you will become it, because that's how the mind works. I'd love to talk to you guys more about this. So if you haven't already reached out to me, please send me a message. You can hit me through the website if you don't have my personal number yet. Or if you do have my number, send me a text. Let me know how the meditation worked for you. And continue to use this to reprogram your mind. And you're going to be hitting new heights of success in no time. Just please don't forget about us little people back here when you're there. So we love you guys so much, and we want you to have a wonderful week. We'll see you Wednesday.